While Clemson might be on the horizon, South Carolina has to finish business at Willie B with a matchup against Wofford on Saturday. So really, it's not about who comes out on top, but who impresses in the final home showcase out in the biggest cathedral of chaos. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson, breaking down everything we will see in Columbia as South Carolina takes on Wofford. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit that ring notification down below, and of course, smash that subscribe button because this is your number one source for all things SEC moving forward. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Make sure that you follow Dave at Mock 10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. This preview is brought to you by our friends over at MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code SECU at sign up to receive a special welcome offer with your very first deposit. College football is coming to a close, but college basketball is just heating up, and it's much more than that. NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever you see fit, go to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SECU at sign up. Receive a special welcome bonus with your first deposit. The Terriers come on into Willie B with a 5-6 record, and I'm just going to go ahead and call this one. We know who should win this football game. We know who should be coming out on top. And South Carolina gave you all the reason after last week's performance against Missouri that they have turned the corner. This is a new version of what we believe is going to be sustainable for the rest of the year. And this could be leading up to what is eventually a matchup that decides a potential playoff spot in the college football playoff race. But regardless, attention has to be on this game alone, Dave. It's senior night. You want to go out on a high note. You want to make your lasting mark at Willie B. This is going to be a matchup where we figure out who are the guys that you're trusting to deliver against Clemson and who are the guys that you trust to deliver for the future of this organization.
Yeah, you're right, Cole. We've seen a lot of teams play with their food this year, and that's something you don't want to come out and do. Again, this is – let's call a spade, like you said. Wofford's not very good. They're 5-6. This happens to be their last game of the regular season as well. Yeah. They're not going to the FCS playoffs. This is kind of their last hurrah. I think you need to try to handle business. We saw Alabama last week handle their business against Mercer and got a lot of the walk-ons in. I think that's kind of the goal in this game. If you're a Gamecock fan, if you're on that coaching staff, if you're a player, you want to see the guys who, again, let's call a spade, the guys that put the work in all week, just like everybody else. They just don't get the glory. This is kind of their game. You mentioned it, Cole. Senior night. Man, it'd be fun if you're a South Carolina fan, if you're the parents of those guys, if you're those guys themselves, their teammates. You want to see those guys get in the second half. But I think it starts with the guys who are the main contributors taking care of business in the first half, putting the Terriers to rest early so you can go get those guys that, the underappreciated guys in the program we all know about, kind of get their glory for a Saturday.
It starts off with, of course, Rocket Sanders and Lenora Sellers. Those are the two headliners of this offense. They have been the backbone really since that turnaround against Texas A&M. They're a reason why when you look at this team, if you were to put them in the college football playoff, and again, we don't know what's going to happen. We're not sure where they're going to appear at the time of this recording. We don't know where South Carolina is going into Tuesday night's rankings. We don't know what the committee is going to say at the end of the day. But those two are a big reason why this offense has been humming. Those two are a big reason why this unit has kind of turned the corner. And then you throw in guys like Mazeo Bennett, you throw in Del Campbell making a couple big plays, you throw in Josh Simon. That's what you're seeing. But it also starts up with the two guys in your backfield. I want to see them come out swinging. I want them to leave no doubt. I want them to not show too much when it comes to the Clemson matchup, but more importantly, I want them to show, hey, we can do it in the big-time games. We can also do it against lesser-tier opponents. It does not matter. It is faceless competition, regardless of who we take on Saturdays.
No, 100%. I think it's you'd like to see somebody else kind of too as we get down the stretch, kind of take over those reins, help Rocket Sanders out in the run game, guys like Oscar Adaway come in. I just think overall this is a game you want to go execute. Wofford with their scheme can present some challenges. I saw St. Beamer said that in his press conference. He's absolutely right. They're improved. The record doesn't say it. But still, just go take care of business like you said, Cole, at the beginning. Don't go look ahead to Clemson in this one. This is a day you should be fired up about. Again, South Carolina's having a phenomenal year, senior day. Just go take it all in before, again, like you said, Cole, could be a playoff potential game against Clemson next week at Death Valley.
And it's not just, and the thing is that we also got to realize, even if, let's just say, South Carolina at 9-3, the resume doesn't allow them to get into the postseason, they knock out Clemson from going to the ACC title game. That's a win in itself. It's also another ranked win, and it's also going to benefit you when it comes to the recruiting aspect of things and when it comes to the transfer portal. Look at Florida. I don't think that we talk about enough what Florida has gotten over the last several days since beating LSU. Multiple players have flipped their commits from UCF, from Florida State, from even Miami. Now they are committed to the Gators. A win like this on the road in Death Valley, the Palmetto Bowl, that matchup, that could do wonders for you when it comes to getting players that are on the fence about where they want to go. But it also, again, it starts off with finding your role players in this game. And I think that the thing that I want to pay most attention to is who are the next crop of guys that are going to step on up? Because if you mentioned the seniors, you want to send them out on a good note. You want them to feel as if all the hard work and the dedication, even though they weren't full-time starters, this is a game where they get to impress in front of their families. They get to be honored with Coach Beamer. They get to be honored with all those inside of Willie B. But I also want to see who are the next up-and-comers that will be a part of this foundation. Like you and I both know this, Dave. Mazeo Bennett and Lenore Sellers are going to be a part of this offense next year. Josiah Thompson is going to be a part of this offense next year. If Nick Harbor continues to do what he's doing and he's catching his stride, he is going to be a major factor in this offense next year. But is there a redshirt freshman or a redshirt sophomore that we haven't heard enough about this year that is going to factor in to what this offense can be? Is there a player that is currently a true freshman that has only seen action on special teams that makes a big-time play defensively that goes up and eventually starts to get reps in the offseason with the first-team defense? That's what I look for in these type of games. You want the tone to be set by your starters. You want the tone to be set by those who are leaving the program, but you also want to find who are those next up-and-comers that could be detrimental to your success in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, bro, you're right. Like a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., because South Carolina loses a lot on that front. Tonka Hemingway, TJ Sanders could leave. Kyle Kennard will be gone. You have some guys that are going to lead that defensive line right there. So you're going to have some guys that need to step up, especially to help out Dylan Stewart next year. Maybe Brian Thomas turns into that. I remember him when I was recruiting in Florida. That name over there at Foundation Academy, I think is where he was from. Yeah, Foundation Academy. He's a guy that played a little bit, probably has not been as much of a factor as a junior that he would probably like to be. But again, it's a very good defensive front. But he's a guy that can take that next step for South Carolina this year that I would just get a personal prior relationship with him. Would like to see how he's been developing.
I like the fact that they utilize tight ends in South Carolina. I think Michael Smith is the guy that we can go into. So let's go ahead and break this down as we always do. We're not going to go into too much detail of Wofford for players that we're watching, but we are going to do it when it comes to South Carolina. For me, I'm going to go with Michael Smith. When you look at Josh Simon, the reason why Lenore Sellers has been so comfortable is he has a security blanket in a bigger tight end that can move across the middle of the field and is pretty good blocking. This season, Michael Smith, 9 catches, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. He's been very limited in his role, but I do think that he can have a big role. And last week, he got the touchdown against Mizzou. So I want to see him continue to grow, continue to build that relationship, whether that be with Robbie Ashford, whether that be with Lenore Sellers, whether that be with, if you got to throw Davis Bevel into the game, just showing the consistency of running this offense underneath Dowell Loggins to where next year, he is going to be a pretty big factor in the passing game alongside with Bennett, alongside with Harbor, alongside with whatever freshman that's coming on in, any transfer that comes on in. I want to continue to see that growth in that relationship of a young tight end who stands 6'6" and could be a mismatch nightmare.
Yeah, I'm going to go with another defensive end there, Desmond Umeozula. I think he's another guy over there. You're a young guy on that defensive line, 6'6", 258. Has had 1 solo tackle this year. Hadn't played a lot, but again, I think they do lose a lot in this front, even at the second level with Debo Williams and them. Who can produce? Again, I think they're going to have to go in the portal and get some guys too. It's called spade a spade. They can go look at Kyle Kennard and look what we did with him. Jeff Collins and them at Georgia Tech couldn't get anything going with Kyle Kennard. He comes to us. He's a phenomenal player. So they're going to go into the portal. But again, you're right. For the 2024 roster, what you have potentially maybe even going to the spring, the young defensive front is what I got my eye on, because that'll be the big question mark in South Carolina replacing a lot of those guys.
I think the other thing that's really important, Dave, is that you can figure out pretty quickly what you need to address in the portal versus what you can continue to develop. And I'm not saying that you don't go out and add pieces in the portal. It's smart to do that every single year. But if you start to feel like there's a little bit more growth, and then when you look at your NIL revenue, your allocations to where your money is going, this type of game allows you to feel confident. Here's what we're willing to spend on a defensive lineman. Here's what we're willing to spend on a wide receiver. Here's what our NIL revenue can look like. These are positions that we can address immediately. these are positions that we can be a little bit more cautious with. We feel like that we are good with the depth. We feel really good about what we're missing and what we need to bring in, but we have the development side. So that's what I look for in this game. Let's not waste any more time. Let's lock in our predictions. 3 p.m. kick, Willie B, SEC Network Plus. Going to be a nice day, 59 degrees outside. Dave, I'll let you go first. What is the final score? I don't think that we need to wonder who's going to win this game, but what is the final score when all is said and done?
I mean, it could be what South Carolina wanted it to be. I mean, let's be honest. I think everybody would admit that. Again, I don't think Shane Beamer's going to go run up the score on this Wofford team. That's not really in him. He's not a guy that's going to go run up the score in these lower level games against teams he knows he's better than. Score, again, it all depends what they want to do. I'll go something. Let's go 51-6.
It's not that bad. I mean, when you think about it, Akron, it was a 50-7 game. I mean, I'm not even sure if they wanted to run it up that much. It's just eventually when a team gives you opportunities, you're not going to lay down dormant. Like that's the other part here is that nobody's going to say you're just going to waltz on in and play a mediocre, underwhelming game because of the competition that you're going up against. So they're going to score a lot of points. I think that you're going to see a lot of players that maybe we didn't call their name as much this year find their way into the end zone, find their way onto the stat sheet, find their way onto making an impactful play. I think that Lenore Sellers, Rocket Sanders, Mazio Bennett, guys like that probably will be done by the start of the third quarter, if not done by the end of the second quarter. You're going to get more seniors to come on in, say their goodbye to Willie B, enjoy one more night. Enjoy one more evening kite type atmosphere at the stadium that they have known and loved. They improved to 8-3 on the year. They get prepared mentally, physically. They avoid all injuries going into this matchup next week against Clemson on the road. I'm going to go agree. I'm going to say it's probably about a 54-7 game. I think that the backups, your third string maybe allows the Terriers to get on the board, but that's probably it. This is going to be, I think, a really good game from Juju McDowell. This is going to be a really good game from Oscar Attaway. You're probably going to see a couple of runs from Robbie Ashford. You're going to see maybe a touchdown run from Sellers and Sanders, but this is a game where you as a Gamecock fan say thank you to all of those who have put in the effort, the time, the hours, the work, the dedication, and avoided all the outside noise this past year on what South Carolina should be and embraced what they will be. So I'll agree with you. I think it's going to be like a 54-7 game. But let us know in the comments section. What do you think that this game is going to be? Like, rate, review, subscribe. Make sure that you're following us on all the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow Dave at Mach 10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. South Carolina, Spurs up. You're going to roll over victory. Peace.